Jazakumullah Khayr for coming early on Jummah to the masjid, especially in this pouring rain. May Allah reward everyone here, double the reward for making the effort to come here on time. But if you made the effort to come on time, I advise those of us here who do not need a support of a wall or something like that to come closer and sit close to and take up the spots in the first rows. And Nabi alayhi wasallam said that whoever comes early to the khutbah comes and sits close to the khatib and listens to the khutbah attentively, the reward is so and so. So one more time, inshallah, I advise you to partake in this reward and come and take up spots in the rows ahead of you. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له واشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له واشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله فقال الله تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون وقال الله تعالى يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وخير الهدي هدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار ثم ما بعد. Before the advent of Nuh alayhi salam, the prophet, the Rasul Nuh alayhi salam, shirk as such did not exist on this earth. So Iblis devised a tactic for the most hated of deeds to emerge amongst mankind, amongst Bani Adam. So right before the advent of Nuh alayhi salam were people. Amongst those were 5 individuals who were known to be exceedingly pious and righteous. Allah has mentioned them in the Quran in Surah Nuh itself. وَقَالُوا لَا تَذَرُنَّ آلِهَتَكُمْ وَلَا تَذَرُنَّ وَدًّا وَلَا سُوَاعًا وَلَا يَغُوثَ وَيَعُوقَ وَنَسْرًا. These 5 people were as-salihun, righteous, pious, luminaries, exemplaries amongst the people before Nuh alayhi salam emerged amongst them. And these righteous men were examples of piety, knowledge, worship and devoutness to the religion. Not just that, good manners, good etiquettes, how they used to treat their neighbors, their families, their friends. They were almost like examples of Anbiya, or rather Sahaba is a better example, in righteousness and piety. And Allah decreed that they died very quickly, in quick succession to each other, in a short span of time. So the community in which they used to reside, they mourned the loss tremendously. Imagine not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 people, 5 truly righteous people, 5 examples of piety, knowledge and worship in your community pass away suddenly. What a loss the community will face, what they will feel. Mournful and sorrowful. And the people of these 5 individuals felt the same. So Shaytan came to them with a novel idea. He told them, why don't you create asnam or images in the form of idols of these 5 individuals so that you can revere them and remember them and narrate to their stories to your children and successive generations so that they can benefit from the example set by these luminaries. And so it happened, the people complied. They erected statues of these 5 individuals. Next generation came and they would say, our parents used to revere these 5 people because of their piety and knowledge, and we should increase in reverence for them. The next generation came. They did worse. They elevated them by starting to call upon them to intercede with Allah or to make shafa'ah. This is what we call bid'ah in religion, leading to shirk. These 5 individuals who had nothing to do what followed the actions of their own people led their legacy to be corrupted in the worst way possible. They were elevated to the status of gods. And therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one thing He has mentioned, He will tolerate everything, rather I should say, He will forgive everything. One thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is unwilling to forgive, a person does not make tawbah for that and dies upon that. And that is a shirk, associating partners of Allah Azza wa Jal. Shaytan's primary goal, brothers and sisters, is one thing above anything else. It is to mislead mankind and take them with him to hellfire. Understand this, Iblis is totally, completely enemy to us. There's no sense of compassion, or any degree of, shall I say, gentleness in his heart towards Bani Adam. If anything, with every passing moment, his animosity and hatred of people increases. Allah mentioned in the Quran, إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌّ فَاتَّخِذُوهُ عَدُوًّا إِنَّمَا يَدْعُو حِزْبَهُ لِيَكُونُوا مِنْ أَصْحَابِ السَّعِيرِ. Indeed, Shaytan is an enemy to you, so take him as an enemy. He only invites his party to be among the companions of the blaze. Imam Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala compiled a list of strategies that Iblis employs for the sake of misguiding people. The first we described already is a shirk. And one thing about the shirk, as I said before, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has left the door open. It's a tiny door, but the door has been opened that a person may commit even major sins. And there is a remote possibility that Allah will forgive those on the Day of Judgment. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has confirmed, if a person commits an action of shirk, that will not be removed from their record, unless they make tawbah for it before they die. In a hadith Qudsi, An-Nabi alayhi wasallam described that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ibn Adam, innaka law ataytani bi qurabil ardi khataya, thumma laqitani la tushriku bi shay'a, lataytuka bi qurabiha maghfirah. O son of Adam, if you were to come to me with sins as great as the earth, but meet me not associating anything with me, I would bring forgiveness equal to it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one more time willing to forgive everything, as high as this person's sins are, as long as a person remains upon Islam. One more time, we do not advise Muslims to attempt such a thing, or tempt fate, as they say. We make tawbah for not just shirk or even major sins, but even for minor sins. That is the correct practice for Muslims. We feel remorse and we seek Allah's forgiveness for any kind of misdeed. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying He's willing to overlook for some people their greatest misdeeds, as long as they do not associate partners with Him. That's the first tactic of Shaytan. And let's be blunt about this. He is exceedingly successful in our times. The second tactic is what we described already. It's bid'ah, innovations in religion. Our deen, brothers and sisters, is complete. Al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, today we have perfected and completed this religion for you. Our religion, there's no possibility of inserting anything inside it. It is like a complete hard drive, full to the capacity. The only way you can insert one more thing inside it is if you delete something from it. And that's the reason the scholars used to say, every time a bid'ah arises, an innovation arises in the ummah, a sunnah dies with it. Because they are opposites. So every single time you want to subdue a bid'ah, you have to give rise to sunnah. And therefore the scholars throughout their lives, you'll see them fighting one thing, the most, bid'ah, and trying to purify the correct practice of the religion. This matter cannot be clarified any further than the hadith of Aisha, in which she said, An-Nabi alayhi wasallam said, Man ahdatha fi amrina hadha ma laysa min fahuwa rad. Whoever invents or introduces into this matter of ours, into religion of ours, that which is not from it, it will be rejected. And therefore, An-Nabi alayhi wasallam also said, Taraktu fikum amrayni lan tadillu ma tamassaktum bihima, kitab Allahi wa sunnat nabiyyihi. I have left for you two things. If you hold fast onto them, you will never be misled. The book of Allah and the sunnah of His Prophet alayhi wasallam. Bid'ah is the second tactic of Shaytan. The third tactic is major sins. Shaytan loves the idea of causing people to rush towards major sins. And the difference between major and minor sins is this. An-Nabi alayhi wasallam said, Ramadan to Ramadan, Jummah to Jummah, and every single salah is kafaratun ma baynahuma. causes people's minor sins to be wiped clean. See how merciful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. We don't even actually have to make tawbah. One more time, we don't advise such a thing. We make tawbah for major, minor sins. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Nabi alayhi salam saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cause sins to be wiped clean as long as you continue doing actions of goodness, in particular ibadat. But for major sins, they do not get wiped from your record clean unless you make specifically tawbah for them. And tawbah by definition is three components. Listen attentively. First is you seek istighfar. You have remorse in your heart and you beg Allah, Allah forgive me, I made a mistake. I did something I should not have done and I know I have displeased you. Forgive me, Ya Rabb. That's the first thing. The second thing, you have conviction in your heart. No matter what, you would not go back to that sin. Because if a person is still hoping and keeping a tiny hope in their heart to go back and return to sin, the tawbah is not going to be accepted. A person should make every single effort in their heart to convince themselves and have a conviction, I will not fall back to the same sin. And the third component is, we avoid company of people, situations and other locations in which we find the sin that we are invited to. So we seek Allah's protection from any kind of major, minor sins, and we seek Allah's protection from being misled by Shaytan. أقول قولي هذا لأستغفر الله لي ولكم. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillahi wa ba'd. We discussed 4 of Shaytan's strategies: Ash-shirk, al-bid'ah, major sins and minor sins. If Shaytan has failed in all these tactics to mislead people, then he will get them to get busy with things that are permissible at the expense of things that they should be doing. For example, you will frequently find people, young men in particular, discussing sports scores, hours upon hours with each other. Is it halal for them to do so? Yes. But it's a waste of time. And Nabi alayhi salam, ni'matani maghbunun fihima kathirun min an-nas, as-sihhatu wal-faragh. 2 things in which majority of mankind loses out or squanders it: good health and free time. If you think about this, they're truly the best of Allah's resources that we don't pay attention to. And if a person is careful about taking care of their body as well as being attentive to their time, Allah will grant them success. The 5th tactic is getting people to choose lesser good deeds. This is something Shaytan frequently misguides even scholars with. Because a scholar may get busy with something which has less value in opposition to something which has greater value. And one more time, see how clear of an enemy Iblis is to us. If he can steal 1 hasanat from us, he will do so. Even if no tactic works, at least he can get you busy with something less so that you won't climb higher in Jannah. That's how vindictive Shaytan is. That's how vengeful Shaytan is. That's how much he hates mankind. That he can pull you down 1 darajah in Jannah, he will do that. And he does not gain anything from that, but out of hatred and animosity towards Bani Adam, towards us. An example for that, and something that people will be alarmed to hear, any time in your life, reading Quran is one of the best things you can do if you're not praying salawat. That's the best use of your time, except between adhan and iqamah. And Nabi alayhi said, لا يردد دعاء بين الأذان والإقامة. There is no dua is rejected between adhan and iqamah. So at this one time, when adhan is called, you sitting in the masjid, better than even reading Quran is to make dua. If all else fails, the last attempt from Shaytan will be to ruin actions of worship and to do everything that you do to remove concentration from that. For example, right at the end of this khutbah, we will start praying salah. And many of us will experience this, no matter how hard we try, which is Shaytan's attempts to spoil salah. We know for Iblis has a minion, has a general called Khayr. This guy, his job is one thing: to cause people's salawat to be ruined, to come and whisper in their ear. Therefore, a man once came to Imam Abu Hanifa. He said, "Yeah, great Imam, I had something of importance that I put away somewhere safely and I forgot about it. And I need it and I cannot seem to find it." So Imam Abu Hanifa said to him, "Do wudu and pray 2 rakah sunnah with great khushu'. You'll remember it where it is." Why? Because Iblis will come, or Shaitan will come and try to mislead the man into thinking what or where he put it with that good deed. I ask Allah Azza to make us amongst those people who stay away from the plots of Shaitan. I ask Allah Azza to make us amongst those people who stay upon the correct sunnah, avoid bid'ah, avoid major and minor sins. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those people who utilize our times in good things. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make our time on this earth beneficial and fruitful us and enter into Jannah. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع مجيب الدعوات. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. وأقيم الصلاة.